is a formal agreement between an employee and employees outlining the terms of employment, including roles, responsibilities, and conditions. A contract of service refers to the employment relationship, which is worker is under the employer control and employee have a benefit and protection under a labor law. Besides that, contract for service is an agreement individual that provides a service which is an independent contractor. Employee has not received a benefit and protection under a labor law.
Before we hop into our role play, we need to know about the legal issues, which is contract of service versus contract for service, and lifting the corporate. In this scenario, we will see the party involved is the plaintiff, which is MD Jawarana, the defendant, which is private companies, MD Amin Rahman and his wife, the judge and their lawyers. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are here today to discuss the suit civil BA22 NCVC 10703 by 2021, filed by MD Jawarana against Amin Nasrin Trading Sdn Bhd and others. Plaintiff, please state your claim.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Jawarana, claimed that he was engaged by the defendants as a foreign worker introducer. Despite introducing 210 workers over the years, he has only received partial payments and claims to seek the outstanding balance of 9,600 ringgit with interest. Furthermore, we request the court to lift the corporate veil for the first and second defendants given Mr. Rahman's involvement and control over the company. Your Honor, we deny this claim entirely. Ms. Rana was an employee of the Amin Nasrin Trading, paid monthly and not as a contractor. He was neither authorized to recruit nor entitled to a commission for any workers introduced. Moreover, our client asserts that he followed all the legal procedure in all the company members, and there is no evidence support to lifting the corporate veil.
Mr. Jawarana, can you explain the nature of your work relationship with the defendants?
Yes, Your Honor. I was asked to bring in their foreign worker for their businesses and assist them with their work permit. I was promised 500 ringgit per worker, and over the years, I have only received 95,400 ringgit for 200 workers.
And Mr. Rahman, were you directly involved with this agreement?
Your Honor, I never promised him about any commission. Mr. Rana worked for us on a monthly salary as a regular employee, and there was no any agreement about any commission per worker.
Your Honor, may I present to you evidence of transaction marked as commission as well as other testimony from other witnesses proving that the plaintiff was the foreign worker introducer?
Yes, sure. You can presenting with the evidence.
Here, Your Honor.
Now, counsel for defendant, do you have any documentation to prove Mr. Rana employment as per employment terms as you described?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, as this was an oral agreement, there is no formal contract exists. However, we rely on his work permits, labeled as a temporary employment passed under the first defendant.
Based on the testimony and the evidence presented, the court finds that Mr. Jawarana will align more with a contract for service rather than employment. So, with the first and second defendants are liable for the outstanding sum of 9,600 with costs to be awarded as specified.
For court decision is in the aspect of independent contractor status, the court decided that the arrangement was indeed a contract for service, entitling Rana to a commission. However, it's found he's aggravated and limit his claim to 105,000 ringgit Malaysia. Given prior payment, the remaining balance was set as 9,600 ringgit Malaysia. On the other hand, the corporate will was not lifted. It is because the court was found with significant evidence of fraudulent intent and declined to make the court defender personally liable. The court ordered the Rana effectively receive 14,600 ringgit Malaysia, which is 9,600 plus 5,000 ringgit Malaysia after deduct the 5,000 ringgit Malaysia where he must pay to the third and fourth defendant.
There are a lot of strengths in this case. The first strength is the clarity on employment versus contractual relationship. The court clarified the distinctions between the contract of service employments and contract for service independent contractor. This is significant for future cases as it strengthens the understanding of what constitutes employment versus independent contractual work. Clear guidelines like the level of control exerted by an organization and the structure of payments can help differentiate between these two types of relationship. The second strength is the corporate veil doctrines. The court considerations of whether to lift the corporate veil to hold the individual personally liable is an important aspect in a corporate law. Here, the court upheld the principle of the personal liability cannot be assigned without the evidence of fraud or wrongful intentions. This reinforces the limited liabilities of a company while also emphasizing that the corporate veil can be lifted if fraud or misrepresentation is proven. The last strength is the burden of proof and oral contracts. The court reliance on the balance of probability to establish the terms of oral contracts demonstrate on how the court assesses similar cases in absence of writing agreements. This approach underscores the importance of the evidence such as transaction record and third-party testimony, improving oral contractual terms.
The first weaknesses is reliance on oral contracts. This case underscores the risk of oral agreements as proving their existence and term is quite challenging without a proper documentation. This complicates litigations and leave room for ambiguity. The second weaknesses is inadequate documentations. The defendant's lack of proper employment records, including informal arrangement, as well as inconsistent evidence like labeling payment as commissions, weaken their credibility. A proper documentation is critical to avoid similarities. Last but not least is limited corporate veil lifting. Upholding limited liability reflects corporate norms but highlight the difficulty of holding personnel liable. Proving intent to defraud remain a high standard in cases of misuse.
Greater legal emphasis on written contract. The case illustrates the potential issue with oral contract, likely motivating the individuals and businesses to insist on the written agreement with similar transaction. This may prompt legal slander or legal practitioners to advocate for policy encouraging documents to minimize disputes.
Next, corporate accountability and ethics. The corporate veil decree application reflect a general preference to maintain corporate protection by allowing for proceeding in cases of fraud. Future cases may see fraud concerning additional factors such as pattern of articulating behavior to assess personal liability of corporate officer, particularly in industries prone to using contractor and temporary worker. Lastly, influence on immigration employment policies. Given the cases focus on foreign workers and work permits, it may influence future regulators and legal policies, fostering migrant labor and their right in contract disputes. The decision underscores the importance of clear legal work agreements and could motivate regulatory bodies to tighten requirements for worker regulation and protection against application.
Swipe back. Oh,